The Soul Redeemer, Book 3, Chapter 24, Concealed. Incubus Succubus paced with great impatience in the hallway of one of the many deep underground facilities around the world that were diligently constructing an army of transhuman bodies for the coming uprising against Christ. Stupid people, he smiled to himself. They may have postponed the day of Sisera by destroying the clone center in Chicago, but there is no way they can stop us this time. Thought of the clone center reminded him of Nicole. Nicole reminded him of Samaria, and he growled with such force, fueled by abhorrence for that town and all in it, that the ground under him trembled. Quickly pulling himself from despairing thoughts, he was comforted as he contemplated with delight that in spite of his ban from Samaria, he was a very successful ruler of many peoples and nations. Because of his ability to appeal to human flesh on so many levels, and his skill in taking people captive, making them his slaves, he had been chosen by his master to be the forerunner to the physical appearing of Lord Satan on the earth. He considered John the Baptist the forerunner of Jesus Christ, and he couldn't help but laugh at that stupid, weak fool wasting his time in the wilderness. Not him. He would make his presence known around the world. I.S. could hardly keep from drooling at the thought of finally occupying a body, one that was being manufactured specifically for him according to his specifications. This body would be built from human DNA so that he could take on human form with its many perks. But it would also be constructed with the highest level of second heaven technology, giving him superhuman capabilities. As a seraph, his own body was reptilian, serpentine in form, but he had the ability to take on any shape he so desired. His preferred form was that of what he considered to be a deliciously looking, dark, handsome man with certain veiled feminine features. He had commanded the body that was to be his physical representation to look exactly as he had long coveted. As a spiritual entity, I.S. was not seen by most of the humans. However, he could appear to certain individuals. By possessing a physical body, he would be able to enter the physical world with greater impact, but his patience was wearing thin, and he stomped into Ronald's office. "My lord," Ronald greeted his superior as he looked up from his work, "what can I do for you?" "You can finish creating my body, that's what you can do," I.S. commanded. "Sir, we are working on it non-stop. I promise that it is close, very close." "Close is not good enough. I want ample time to familiarize myself with it, to get comfortable in my skin before the unveiling, so you must push harder." "Very well, sir. I'll see to it," Ronald promised. In frustration, realizing his inability to speed up the process by hanging around, he reluctantly decided to visit Julia, his chosen human lover. Her welcome embrace would help to soothe his impatience. He had many mistresses and vassals, too many to count, for perverted sex was his nature. But down through history he had always found one man or woman who had worshipped him with such passion that he would bond with them in a special way. Since he was unable to travel through dimensional space in his present form, he extended his 6 wings as he floated a couple feet off the ground and wrapped them around his body. He spun around a couple times, unfolded himself, revealing his true form, and then disappeared. Ronald couldn't help but give a little shiver. This entity was just creepy, downright disturbing. He shook it off and got back to work. He didn't want this principality's wrath on him. Jake had just retired. It was a beautiful, relatively cool morning for the month of August in Samaria, and Nicole suggested that they go for a walk. Jake agreed. "But," he said, "let's hike up and over the hill between our house and Samaria." Nicole looked to see if he was joking. He didn't appear to be. Are you sure? It's August, for goodness sakes. There are snakes and torturous stickers out there, she complained. He looked at her with a conspiratorial smile. I know, but I want to know how long it would take us, and today is a perfect time. Come on, let's do it. Seeing her reluctance, he said, I'll take the gun and shoot any snake that gets in our way. I'll carry water in the backpack, and I'll pull the stickers out of your shoelaces for you when we get back. He could tell that she was considering it. I'll even carry you if you want, he teased as he caught her up in a bear hug and nuzzled her neck. Laughing, she finally agreed. Okay, but if you get bit by a rattler, I am not carrying you home. Jake had found an old compass and decided to follow it due east just for fun. As they started hiking up the mountain, he said, We're not turning to the right or to the left. We are going to make a straight shot. What if we run into a large rock cropping? Nicole asked. Then we'll go straight up and over it, he teased. At least she hoped he was teasing. They had hiked this way before, but had never gone all the way to Samaria. Nicole began to wonder exactly where they would come out when they arrived. They kept up a good pace, stopping to briefly rest and take a drink a couple of times, and they only had to go around one rock cluster. After 55 minutes, they arrived at the top of the last ridge and looked down on Samaria. Nicole gasped. What? Jake asked, thinking she saw a snake. She pointed to the structure below them. The inn was due east, directly in line with their home. That night, after Nicole had fallen asleep, she heard her shepherd's voice say, Today, when you hiked the mountain, you were blazing a trail. And then she dreamed a familiar dream. She was carrying a bucket, and as she walked, she was pouring Jesus' blood out of the bucket onto the ground. This time, as she looked back, she saw her home. As she looked forward, she saw the inn. She kept walking toward the inn, pouring out Jesus' blood, and when she got there, she prayed, Holy Spirit, please come and ignite this blood on fire. Suddenly, she saw a flame come from the sky and touch the blood that covered the trail between the two places. When the fire died down and the smoke cleared, there was a straight and narrow path, cleared of all weeds, connecting her ranch with the inn. When she woke up, she knew it was significant. She just didn't understand why.